Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. Well, I find myself having to come back just to share a thought with you. These thoughts that I have seems to make things so clear. Nothing new, but makes it so much clearer to me. And that clarity compels me to come back and just share it with you. It might do some good, as it has been for me. And what I was basically focusing on is that the world, and I want you to see if you can see this with me, is basically played like a casino. And nations gamble against one another, nation against nation. And the people in the nations, they gamble against one another. And the outcome is the same in this situation as it is in any situation. Whether it's gambling in baseball, whether it's gambling in boxing, whether it's gambling in basketball, whether it's gambling with Russian roulette. Wherever gambling is taking place, you can bet there's some tricks being played. In other words, gambling is synonymous with cheating. Gambling is synonymous with cheating. But there's joy that goes to the winners, and anger and bitterness goes to the losers. Now, at the national level, at the state level, when this anger and bitterness manifests itself, it evolves in violence that can lead to war. And when that same practice takes place between people who have found themselves with that anger and with that bitterness, it evolves into hatred, bigotry, racism, rich, the poor, all of the stuff that is evident in the world today. So it makes me want to bring this to our attention. And I was thinking, when I look back at our history, the American history, early days, when the West was being formed, when Europeans started coming to this country, and what the role they played, how they took the people who were here, who were in their way from what they envisioned, and they began to wipe these people out. Wipe them out. I'm just thinking about this. Until the few that was remaining really, in essence, say, well, if you leave us alone and let us live, we will submit, we will conform to your ways. And they still moved them on in reservations and stuff like this. And you know the rest of it. I just want to share that with you. But it also makes me think about the Africans. People who came over here, not necessarily on their own, for the most part. Not saying that some didn't, but for the most part, others had a little help. And like those Indians who went to war and fought back, who were giants in the next dimension. There were those in the African community who did the same thing. Some jumped off ships. Some say, before I give up my life to what this foreign thing is, they'll take their own lives. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm not taking mine beyond doing what I'm supposed to do. And so even as time passed, brothers had to stand up. But even in standing up, they had to basically conform, not just in language, but in religion. Not just in religion, but from day-to-day life. And then at the lower end of that. And I was just thinking, how come everybody had to conform to that? Because we call this nation a melting pot. A melting pot where everybody gets a chance to be who and what they are. Their culture is unique. Their culture is fine. So for one reason or another, they had to leave from where they're from originally. But they found peace here. Because here, you can be who you are. And at the same time, by being who you are, it gives you the liberty to work together with one another so this thing, this harmony can be maintained. Melting pot. Well, when I think about it, I think about it very seriously, ladies and gentlemen. If the nations of the world are to grow in wonderment, and if the people of the nations are going to have peace and prosperity and joy in their lives, all of us and a lot of stuff has got to change. And we have got to change our ways. And take this to heart. If there is, because I don't want to argue with anybody, if there is no God, then we must create one of our own that does this: peace and joy, prosperity in the lives of every human being. I was just thinking about that. You're taking people out of their elements, forcing them to conform to a certain way, and that certain way keeps them down. And you call yourself great, you call yourself king, you call yourself connected to the Heavenly Father just because people bend down and bow to you, and they bend down and bow to you because they have no knowledge of the truth. Everything that is in existence, basically, that you have control over, you have taken it and shaped it and molded it to present exactly what you want it to present, not what truly is. We can look back at all of our histories. Well, look back in American history and look for blacks. Where does it begin? And I'm sure in others. So, what's the point? What's the point in the world continuing as it is? What's the point in politicians coming before you, telling you they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and when their hands are tied, they cannot do it unless they agree? And you know they're not going to agree because you won't agree. And why won't you agree? Because you've been trained by an unknown power that knows you quite well, and it's not God. The power behind the money. Yes. They always tell you, follow the money. And you will find those dirty hands. The trouble is, when you find those dirty hands, you close your eyes and act like they don't exist. You come back and try to find your little way to maneuver through. Thinking that you're going to win in the end, and people who can't make it, well, it's on their God. I want you to know this. You might not believe in God, but I'm going to tell you, I don't believe in God. I know God. When I got the knowledge of God, belief left me. When I was hearing people saying things about God, reading stuff in books about God, that's when I believed in God. But when I found myself in a situation where only a God could deal with that situation, that's when all the belief left me. All the doubt left me. And it became real to me. And it is by that power that I stand before you and share with you something that I know where you've been. I know where you're at. I've been there. And I know you're talking don't mean a darn thing without you walking. And walking don't mean none thing unless they hate you for walking. If they don't hate you, you are all right. And God don't know you. When I say God don't know you, I mean you're not exhibiting the traits of God. You're not exhibiting love. You're not exhibiting that thing which plays a major part in prosperity and peace and joy. No. Your silence, you're being quiet. Even though you walked a step in God, you still now. What some people call backsliding. You thought backsliding was going back taking a smoke. You thought backsliding was going back taking a drink. You thought backsliding was going back playing some cards. No. Backsliding is when you stop caring. When you found peace in where you at. You stop growing. That's when you start getting old. Getting sick. Filled with diseases. And die from a wasted life. I want everybody who are listening to me today, you young men, you old men that are still living, you can change your life around. Don't let your life go down as a big waste, because I'm telling you, if your living has not helped somebody, you've heard somebody say, well, if I just help one. No, you do the right kind of help, and that help spreads all across the board. You heard it said, if you give 10%, it's as much as, well, if you help just one somebody the right way, it affects everybody. But now, if it just helps that one person right there, it's selfish. It's selfish. You say, well, I'm helping somebody. No, it's selfish. Because the act that you're taking, at the same time, there's another act. Now, if you don't know what the other act is, then you're okay. But if you take this act that you take because it's the easiest one to take, but won't give the greatest benefit, I'm going to leave it there. I hope some of you have been